What's up, guys and gals? Red Icing Guy, finally back and able to make videos about Persona. This last weekend and the week that followed was very hectic for me, so I wasn't able to make videos. Now I am back with tons of information. So much info came out this week. Not just the details about the new characters in Persona 5, but the new Witcher 3 DLC got a release date, the new Pokemon starters were released, massive beta hype and outrage in Overwatch, and the Assassin's Creed movie released its first trailer. It's a good time to be a gamer. But on to the subject at hand. Last week I promised the staff interview analysis, and I intend to finally deliver. It will focus on the gameplay aspects, as I haven't finished combing through all the details of the actual interview as of yet. Afterwards, a list of corrections will be listed, as some of the trailer analysis info I released was incorrect, possibly clouded by hype and cold medicine. I know I might be a little late to the case, but I just want to keep my promises, even if it's a little after what I promised. Enough with the intro, let's get into the gameplay. The first scene of gameplay, we see the new sneaking mechanics in action. While this might be a simpler example than others we have seen, it goes further into how battles immediately follow after a sneak attack, confirming this as a method for a chance, or as we know it from previous games, a preemptive strike. After the personas have entered the field, we can finally confirm direct control of teammates. I was hoping this would be in the game, as the idiot moves your party members made in Persona 3 was capable of generating controller breaking rage. Afterwards, we see the sliding on the sand from the fourth trailer, followed by what looks like to be a dungeon progression mechanic for the pyramid. Whether you just have to find one of these to progress to the next floor, or multiple, hasn't been confirmed as of yet. But the frame in the background is peculiar, as it may incorporate a transition mechanic like the paintings we have seen. The picture is not currently active, but gameplay logic dictates that after enough of these panels have been activated, whether just being one or multiple, the next floor of the dungeon is accessible. Next, we see a repeat scene in the bank church dungeon from the fourth trailer. After that, we see a vault opening, presumably after beating Beelzebub, quickly followed by a curious moment. At this moment of the video, we see Makoto, aka Queen, open up a golden suitcase full of money. As only the characters featured here are those of the party members who participated in the bank church dungeon, this must be the reward for taking down the boss. This money is special in some way, and I can't help but think it's related to the lottery extortion mentioned in the news reports. Also, I have a feeling that the main characters don't get to keep it, but rather give it back to the victims. Actually, it might be a central decision in the game to give it up or be greedy and keep it. That's just a theory for now, but we'll keep a pin in it if it comes up later. The next portion of gameplay we see is very important, as some gameplay mechanics from previous games may have been altered. This gameplay details what happens after you exploit an enemy's weakness. While in the art gallery dungeon and cast Agi on all of the personas, and after destroying one enemy, then knocking down another, the game asks for you to select a character to follow up the attack. This method, as displayed on the screen, is called Baton Touch. This is pretty cool, as teammates usually only have one elemental magic type, and the follow-up attack can lead to more all-out attacks in certain situations. In past games, you would face a dilemma if the knockdown enemy's turn came up before another teammate could knock down the others. You would either have to try for it again, or directly fight the enemies to conserve SP. This new method must have some regulatory function to it, as it would make gameplay too easy. Some theorists say that Persona Studios implemented this to make the game easier and attract new fans to the series. And I have to say that they may be right. Unless this function makes you burn through SP too fast, each battle becomes a set of 3 or 4 attacks and then fight over. Let's leave those theories for now and focus on the next important detail of the battle. The fact that Ryuji is a Zio user. This closes the Bufu Garu argument video of mine, well, at least if party members are locked to one element. If we put 2 and 2 together while considering locked to one element, Yusuke must be a Bufu user and Morgana is probably a Garu user. Another important detail that we can see is that Yusuke's weapon is a katana. No surprise there, as he has more Japanese influences in his design than the rest of the group. In the next scene, we see a definitive detail in the battle scene, and if you have been observant so far, you may have noticed it already. For a long time, some theorists, collaborators, a direct quote from Hoshino, have been saying that Morgana would be the first navigator. This speech caption at the top of the screen acts like the messages from past navigators. Just something more to consider. Once the battle is over, we see another version of the victory screen detailing experience, money, and items. My question is, where the hell is he running? Hey! You're leaving your friends behind. Do you even know if that's the right direction? But anyways, at least the victory screen has more aesthetics to it rather than the ordinary information from past games. Also, I have to point this out. In a past video, I tried to call this an item awarded screen, but I was wrong. This is actually a mission complete screen. During boss fights and dungeon crawling, the mission objectives are stated in the top right corner. Once these are completed, you get this screen. Sorry if I misled you. Moving on, we see some of the set jumping elements within a dungeon. A few people ask me if this means alternate routes may be incorporated into the dungeons, and honestly, I don't know. The dungeons are pre-generated, so it allows for both. If we look at the minimap for this floor, it doesn't seem like alternate routes will be available unless they are hidden. After that, we are shown a little bit more of the castle level design and some stealth gameplay aspects. The next battle doesn't seem to detail much. If you notice anything important, please tell me, and I'll feature you in an upcoming video. As the video goes on, and after Hoshino's reminisce speech, we get to see what looks like the interior of the casino dungeon. If you look at the character's level, you will notice that it's in the 40s. While considering the level, unless Persona Studios changed up the experience system to require less leveling up per dungeon, it seems there must be another dungeon after the casino, if not two. Relating it to past games, even if this was the first floor of the dungeon, that means the max level Persona enemies must be around the 50s. Usually Persona games go into the 60s and 70s with the mob enemies before the final boss, at a minimum. We know that the casino dungeon is after the space dungeon, as the walking scene depicted in the 4th trailer, and here we can see Haru holding an axe off screen. I'll leave that thought in your heads, because the next clip is almost too exciting for me. I'm geeking out way too much. This clip is actually another boss fight. Notice the mission objectives in the top right and the fact that the robots and boss are not actually personas. The boss most likely looks to be Haru's father, as new info from the Famitsu scans points out. Also, Fosizzle explained to me, in a rather convincing argument I might add, that this dungeon's theme is sloth. But back to this screen, as one more important detail is in it, the countdown clock. What it does, I have no clue, but since boss battles are usually over in less than 30 minutes, I have to think that the player needs to beat this boss before the timer runs out or automatic game over. The next scene is another repeat, and some more detail on dungeon platforming. The space dungeon overworld enemies also seem to be sentry bots, which really does fit in with the theme. I love the level design in this game so far. After that, Hoshino gives his closer and the video ends. This sucks because I wanted more detail. But hey, if too many details were released about the story, then I would have less theories to make. Alright, that's the end of the gameplay analysis, and stay on the lookout for a future video detailing what Hoshino let slip in his interview, as he usually does, as if it's intentional. If I made any mistakes, feel free to point them out. But for now, I have to move on to an embarrassing subject for me, as I screwed up some things in my trailer analysis and I don't want to leave it uncorrected. The largest mistake I made was confusing the soundtracks for remakes. I was at the end of a 12-hour editing binge and I was full of allergy medication. I should never been editing in that state, and I'm sorry. The next mistake was calling the passive member party attack as a new detail. It was a feature in Persona 4 Golden, and since I never played it, as buying a PS Vita for one game was a no-go for me, I just watched Let's Plays to get the new story and social link info, and didn't consider gameplay. Another mistake I made was calling Beelzebub the boss of greed, when historically he has been known for gluttony. You can also see some gluttony references from this scene, as the boss says, "I eat morons like you for breakfast." And he is sort of a chubby guy. Also, it was Pillar Gold who told me about this boss being Beelzebub, and I'm still thankful. This is important, as Avarice can take its rightful place as the casino dungeon, which leaves Wrath for the last Sin dungeon. I am truly sorry if I misled you, and if I ever make blunders like this again, please tell me. I don't want people to walk away from my videos with false information. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you want me to reply to your comment, put red at the start of it, and I'll get back to you. I'll have more videos out this weekend, so be on the lookout, as the next video will be about the new Famitsu scan pictures and how they explain new characters, create new theories, help past theories, and finally debunk other ones that were kinda crazy. Again, I cannot think of a closer. So,
goodbye.